Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we're in the shop today. We're pretty much gonna be only in the shop today because what we have for today is more of a project reveal than us actually getting starting on it, and that is due to a number of reasons. And what is that project gonna be? Well, guys, we have teased it for a number of years, and I finally found one that was a good enough shape, good enough deal, and I bought it. So if you guys can see this huge box behind me, you guys might not know what that is. You might know what that is. So yeah, let's go ahead, get this thing open. If you guys know your GM products, this shouldn't be too shocking of what's in here. So let's go ahead and reveal what's gonna be next for the truck. And if you guys said boost, you were right. So if you guys know what this is a LT4 supercharger. Obviously it says it right there. And this one is off a ZL1 or a V3. The Corvette specific ones have a shorter snout. This pulley does not go right here. This pull is actually closer in, I think by like another ½ inch. So the V3 and the ZL1s have this little extended piece. The LT4 and the C7 does not have that. So if you guys have paid attention to the Silverado and GMC market at all, you will know that there are conversion kits out there for the 14 to 19 trucks. The 21 through 22, they kind of fit, but they're different. They're not exactly a bolt-on. And up until recently, you needed to use the Corvette supercharger for this kit, but there's been a recent change. I actually didn't know about it. I already bought this because I was gonna do a hybrid of a couple different kits, but we'll reveal later in the video of what we're talking about, why you can use the regular ZL1 or the V3 blower on the truck. So this supercharger cost me $1,500. I think it was $100 shipping to the door, so $1,600 to the door. And the guy listed it, I believe it had 30-some thousand miles on it. And like I said, it came off a V3. So this is kind of a redo of what we did on the SS like 8 years ago. Found a used blower, came off of a recall car, and this was the same thing. I believe the LT4s, either the isolator goes bad or bearings in the back. One of those two go bad. And yeah, so that's kind of why the dealerships just swap them out. They don't want to take any time for the tech to have to rebuild these, go through them and whatnot. So yeah, mine is one of those recalled blowers, which is fine. We're gonna tear this thing apart anyway. I'm not sure if we're gonna do a full rebuild or whatnot, but I actually need to find out. There is the isolator up here. There were two different styles, so we actually need to take that apart. And that'll be the kickoff of our next video. And so yeah, we'll be throwing some boosts at the truck at some point in the future. Right now, I still have powertrain for another year or so. So I'm not sure if we're gonna interrupt that before then, but yeah, there's a number of issues why we can't just go ahead and throw this right on the truck. First of all, the cylinder heads don't fit. The L87 and the LT4 heads are drilled differently. I need to find a set of cylinder heads, and there's other issues just with my truck and all of the L87's lifter issues, bottom end issues, and so there's just a whole bunch of stuff preventing us from putting it on right now without screwing up the warranty. But yeah, so at some point we will do this, just it won't be today. So I do have a bunch of other parts to go over with you guys, so let's go ahead and jump into that. All right guys, now that we've done the big reveal of the supercharger, let's kind of go ahead and go over the parts that I've been collecting since before I bought the truck. I've kind of been collecting LT4 parts for a while. And let's just start off at one end. So over here we have the Escalade V, or the turbo diesel intercooler pump bracket. There's a factory bracket that you could order. Pretty sure that was pretty cheap from GM. We've got a belt. We've got an assorted allotment of pulleys. Some of these are from the Corvette, some of these are from other things. Then we've got the plastic coolant reservoir for the supercharger. We've got a cap for that. This is the factory line. That goes down to a factory pump down there. Bottom of the frame rail, kind of next to the radiator. We have a water pump off a L87 or L8T truck. Now L87 is the motor I have, but if you guys look, you'll notice there's a tensioner on here. Well, guess what? My water pump is not machined for that tensioner. But if you have the L8T, so the 6.6 gas. So basically those motors from like 2019 to 2022 before they went to the 6.2 plus, you have a machined edge on there for that tensioner. Got a bracket from ICT billet, got an LT5 throttle body, another billet bracket. We have a early C7 Z06 lid, and then we have a CSF heat exchanger from Dedicated Motorsports. You guys can see there it's CSF. So this, I believe, is for a Gen 5 or Gen 6 ZL1 Camaro. And then the throttle body is kind of the big thing. That is off a 19 ZR1. So we kind of have a smorgasbord of parts here. And unfortunately, we're going to be doing a little bit of a change on some of these parts, but it is what it is. Pulleys, all the pulleys are good except for the ones that are ripped. And that is because we might be going from using the ADM Performance / ICT billet 2-inch spacers. We might actually stick with the Escalade V front accessory drive. Now I'll show some pictures here. You'll see the first picture will show how much the Escalade V parts cost. I believe it was going to be about $2 grand. Then the second picture here is kind of what I had budgeted for the billet adapters and everything for, using the ICT parts, and that is like $1,300. I already have the water pump. So, you have to kind of consider that I've already spent some of that money. So if you guys do decide to use the Escalade V parts, you're gonna have to change a whole bunch of stuff on the front end. It's pretty much gonna be like the conversion we did with the ZR1 stuff on a C6. So AC compressor, power steering, we've got electric steering, water pump, belt drives, pretty much everything on there, we're gonna have to swap out. I'm gonna show a picture here of a Silverado with the LT5 parts off the Escalade V. This is from Wayne at Rowan's Rides out down in Florida. Those are the guys that built the short bed, supercharged all-wheel drive truck for Cletus, at least the first version of it. That's where they bought the truck. I saw him post this on one of the Silverado groups, and I was like, damn, that looks awesome. Got a little bit more information out of him, and that's how I found out he was using all of the Escalade parts. So I know that it can be done. I know that a lot of the stuff will swap over. So everything we have here can or might be used, might not be used. Oh, and then not only that, but you also have to space the alternator up. ADM Performance won't tell me what exact piece they use. I think I figured it out. I think they use 2 different kits from Magnuson that they use on their superchargers. I ordered one of them. It's actually this kit right here. You guys can see this. This is part number 311953009. And it says the 2014 Plus Idler. So that's one kit. That was already over, I think that was $130 something for that. And then the other bracket, probably be $200. So, I'm kind of invested into the ICT stuff, but I'm also not really, because I never bought those $700 or $800 spacers. So then I saw the LT5 stuff that Wayne had posted from Rowan's Rides, and I was like, that got me thinking. So started thinking logically about this. I'm like, guys, I have not had any issues with throwing belts or slipping or anything using all the GM parts. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, custom pulleys, custom idlers, spacing, belt alignment, trying to get all that stuff to work. You're kind of like, I don't know if this is going to work. Sure, people have bolted it on. I'm sure they've got it running, but I want longevity. Using all the GM parts over here on the ZR1, because we've got factory alternator, factory supercharger pulleys, the power steering over there. This is an 11 rib belt setup. And yeah, so I kind of like the fact that we've got plenty of belt engagement for the supercharger, and it has its own dedicated drive belt. So GM stuff, pulley alignment should not be an issue, and they have a dedicated belt drive for the supercharger. So kind of all 3 of those have gotten me to that point. I'm like, it might be worth it just going with the LT5 stuff. Right now, the parts are available. I'm doing the swap while the Escalade V is still being produced. Unlike the ZR1 back here, those ZR1 parts, I'm not going to run into issues trying to find pieces. So, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Unfortunately, I didn't know the LT5 stuff was coming out 2 or 3 years ago. So, so some of these parts did not exist and really did not need to be purchased. The only good thing is, I think I got that lid for $100, and I got the water pump, I want to say that was like $150. So I don't have too much stuff invested in this if I decide to sell some of the stuff. So that kind of leads us to budget and our next decision. Option number one is to kind of use the parts I already have, keep buying the parts that I would need from ICT Billet. I think the budget for that, total blower, everything, heat exchanger, pump, you know, the intercooler pump, heat exchanger, everything. I had budgeted roughly $3,800 for the ICT Billet stuff and the parts that we already have. Now, if we go the LT5 part route, you know, all in, it's $4,500. So you're looking at an additional $500 or $600 by using the GM stuff. And right now, since we're way kind of under budget as it is, I think that might be the route we go. Go with the GM stuff. It's tried and true, and you're not going to have any misalignment or belt spacing issues. And, you know, belt slip always could occur with a supercharger, but I think it would be best bet to go with the GM stuff. So yeah, that's really the only difference between these two kits is like $500 or $600, and I actually might be able to reduce the price of that even down further a little bit by going through the pulleys that I have. I haven't pulled everything out, and see if some of those would swap with that LT5 stuff, because, you know, I don't know if the belt spacing and all that might be different or whatnot. So yeah, I apologize if that was a lot of talking, but I wanted to show you what a future project will be on the truck. We're not there just yet. I obviously have more parts to order, and we'll talk about the short block in a later video. That's a whole nother subject, and that's a whole different rant that we'd have to go down. So if you guys want to see that video, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications, and if you guys want to help support the channel, check out all the links down below. I'll try to include part numbers for everything that we've included down here. Actually, the Excel spreadsheet I showed you guys has all the part numbers. We'll include the links for everything that we can find, and yeah. And if we do end up deciding to sell some of these parts, make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. We've got our used parts list on that, our merchandise on there as well. And any support you give there goes right back into the channel, helping us buy those LT5 parts and whatnot, and that'll be it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.